Hola, ¿qué tal mi gente? ¿Cómo están? Antes que nada, que Dios lo bendiga a todos. Bienvenido nuevamente a Strike Tirándole. Señores, en el día de hoy vamos a estar llevando la transmisión de David Ortiz a la exactación del Salón de la Fama. Así que pendiente, que vamos a estar poniendo imágenes de lo que está pasando en vivo con nuestro dominicano que pone nuestra bandera en alto. La ven por aquí, nuestra bandera en lo súper alto, señores. Así que nada, hoy Ortiz, el rey de la vaina. Ya ustedes saben, señores, compartan la transmisión. Déjenme compartir la transmisión yo por aquí también. Así que pendiente. El Big Papi, señores, Salón de la Fama, no bulto. Saludos, saludos. Miren, miren eso cómo está, miren eso cómo está. Déjenme mostrarle, déjenme mostrarle. Miren eso cómo está. Ve nítido, ¿eh? Ay, 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 ay. Qué pendiente, señores, el Big Papi. Ay, hey, David Ortiz. Uy, uy, uy. Señores, la cosilla ahí de David Ortiz. Saludo a Albert, Javier. Saludo a Andrés Pérez que andan por aquí. Saludito. Saludito. Quiero estoy compartiendo, compartan ahí, por favor. Compartan, denle like. Eh, el Big Pop. Bueno, están dando anuncios, están dando anuncios. ¿Qué es lo que es? Mega bendiciones, dice Braylin. Saludos, 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 la gente. Eh, colocando todo esto por aquí, señores, que se... Dominicana en alto, señores. Ustedes estamos contentos, de verdad. Que se sientan dominicanos, pongan una bandera ahí en el chat, por favor. Los que se sientan dominicanos y orgullosos, pongan una bandera ahí del Big Papi, señores. Pónganla, pónganla la bandera. Siento bien, me siento bien, brother. Va con el Big Papi, Salón de la Fama. Todo el mundo puede llegar ahí, ¿eh? Vamos, pongan la bandera, los que se sientan orgullosos, orgulloso. David Ortiz, David Ortiz, uy, uy, uy. Vamos allá, el Big Papi. Ay, 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 los dominicanos activos, los dominicanos, dominicanos, dominicanos activos. ¿Qué es lo que ustedes dicen? Los domi, los domi, los domi, los domi. Venimos fuerte, venimos fuerte, venimos fuerte. Señores, suscríbanse, activen la campanita de notificaciones, denle un buen like y sobre todo compartan el contenido, señores. Estaremos por aquí dándole transmisión sobre el Cooperstown, señores, con el David Ortiz. Así que por favor, de una vez dándonos like, por favor. Vamos, vamos. Ay, 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 ey. Bueno, están dando la ceremonia, sin mí. Pendiente. Vamos a ponerlo para esto. En vivo, la David Ortiz. Era Jim Tommy ahí atrás. Señores, ahí están todos los verdugos, los que están exaltados, ¿eh? El comisionado Rob Manfred dando unas declaraciones ahí. Déjenme ver, señores, si le pongo el audio, pero el problema es que si yo no sé si me copyright.
(1980-83) Unwavering workhorse left-hander, won 283 games and pitched 4,530 1/3 innings across 25 big league seasons, topping 200 innings mark 14 times. Anchored Twins rotation for 13 years, helping Minnesota to the 1965 pennant. Three-time All-Star and 20-win campaigns, including back-to-back seasons with White Sox in 1974-75 when he mastered quick pitch delivery.
Transition
to bullpen in final
Déjenme,
seasons,
señores, déjenme poner.
Cardinals 1982 World Series victory set standard for fielding excellence among pitchers, earning 16 straight gold.
Voy a poner una musiquita también, no voy a hacer cosas.
Retired with the most seasons of any pitcher in history, 25, and sixth most games started, 625.
You know, Tom, it's a baseball life that spans over 60 years. When I think of how Jim Cott constructs a speech like this, where does he begin?
Probably at the beginning in his love for baseball, which really came from his father. I'm really anxious to hear him explain that connection.
Estamos en vivo, estamos en vivo, estamos en vivo. Ay, 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 ay. Señores, Javier Ortiz, 541 cuadrangulares de por vida.
With the importance of loving the sport, playing for that, and getting back to the roots of the.
Señores, eso es lo único que se hace aquí, señores. La placa, lo más, eso es lo más hype que hay en béisbol. Ser exaltado al Cooperstown.
Thank you so much. I wish to begin by thanking
Jim Cow.
Jane Forbes Clark, Chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Empezamos por él adelante, señores. Hall of Fame.
The President, the entire staff of the Hall of Fame, and also the hundreds of volunteers that have made this weekend go so smoothly. And I want to thank all of you for being here. What a wonderful atmosphere to demonstrate your love for the game of baseball. And I found out yesterday these people.
Nubris Morillo dice muchas felicidades a David Ortiz, mucho éxito, bendiciones. Eso es, eso es.
1946. My dad drove me to Detroit to see a doubleheader, Red Sox Tigers. I saw Ted Williams, Bobby Doerr, Hank Greenberg.
El Big Papi, señores. Estamos esperando ese momento,
Is when I walked up the ramp to find our seats, this dark green cathedral called Briggs Stadium opened up, and the greenest expanse of grass I'd ever seen, the whitest white uniforms, and I think my little 7-year-old brain said, I want to be one of those guys. And I actually think that from that day forward.
Este es el primero que fue saltado, el primero que han llamado,
I learned a lot about the Hall of Fame actually.
Jim Cap.
In those years, my parents actually drove here in 1947.
Jim Cap es el nombre de este jugador exaltado al Salón de la Fama. Jim Cap.
We played a lot of baseball history, asked me a lot of questions. I knew the answers to the one of the questions before he got done reciting it. And the answers were Ty Cobb, Walter Johnson, Christy Matheson, Babe Ruth, and Hannes Wagner.
Mira, estamos en mi bola, en directo con el Salón de la Fama de Cooperstown, la exaltación en vivo. Estamos en mi bola y esto es en mi bola, ¿eh? Aquí está Jim Cap dando su speeching de Salón de la Fama. ¿Qué es lo que es, Cristian? Bendiciones, brother, igual para ti. ¿Cómo te fue en el examen y la vaina? Bien. Pero la gente ahí, ¿vieron la gente? La gente está activa. Hey, mi hermano Pedro Rosario de Béisbol Caliente RD. Saludos, bendiciones, gracias por la sintonía. El primero exaltado al Salón de la Fama, Jim Cap. Sí, ya lo vi a Pedro por ahí, lo vi. Imagínate, mi favorito, con Manny. A Mariano, vi a Iván Rodríguez. Tienen aquí un grupillo de ellos allá atrás, donde están sentaditos. Pero si tú supieras que yo pensaba que cuando llegaban al Salón de la Fama le daban un $200,000 de por vida, pero no dan nada. Solamente el privilegio de estar ahí en ese pueblo llamado Cooperstown, con esa placa ahí, va para largo hoy, señor, va para largo. Jim Cat. Mira, si te están escuchando, yo le subí el volumen un poco y puse la música, pues no vaya a hacer cosas y me den un copy. Me fue excelente, creo que fui el único que completó el examen. Ya eso es, Cristian, esa es la vuelta. Hey, parece que invoqué a Jeremy, porque le iba a decir Jeremy a Cristian. Jeremy, buenas y lluviosas tardes, el domingo, bendiciones. Saludos. Jim Cap, señores, producido al Salón de la Fama 2022, Estamos en mi bola, compartan la transmisión, denle like y suscríbanse para que YouTube siga recomendando esto. Vamos allá. Puse la gorra de República Dominicana, señores, no hay forma. Vine de azul hoy, no hay forma de que esta bandera esté por lo alto hoy,
And I didn't see the value of that until I get into adulthood. I don't know that I'm there for sure yet, but I'm getting there.
Mira la gente hablando de calor, Cristian, cogiendo calor ahí. Que no cogen esa. Pero miren el Vladi está por ahí. David Ortiz en primera plana ahí. Uf. Qué lindo sentarse ahí, Rafael Herrera dice, es un hecho para el gran Big Daddy desde Filadelfia. Saludos, Rafael Herrera desde Filadelfia. Pues estamos aquí mismo. ¿De qué parte de Philly tú eres? Dice Darling. Anderson Straight Cole, saludos desde Baní, República Dominicana. Saludos, hermano. Un saludo allá a la nuestra República Dominicana. La bandera en alto, la bandera en alto. Que por favor, denle like, pulgar arriba, suscríbanse. Miren cómo está la gente aguantando sola ahí, señores. Rexo. Vamos a escuchar lo que dice.
I did go down to the minor leagues and started my career down there, and I actually made my debut a little after 2 years from the time I signed. But I wouldn't have advanced that far had I not spent a couple years in the minor leagues, and specifically 1958 in Missoula, Montana, Class C League. Was a tough league to pitch in.
Congrats, Gene. Hey, el Big Papi 34. La gente está esperando el Big Papi. La verdadera esencia.
Went on to become known as Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker. Uke was the cleanup hitter. My manager was a 27-year-old playing manager.
Señores, el speech de este tigre está largo. Me imagino que van a hacerse todo. Vamos a verle Blip Papi cuando el Blip Papi esté hablando. ¿Qué lo que? La NI Castor Avenue, aquí presente, me gusta tu programa. Gracias, mi hermano, gracias. La I Castor Avenue, por ahí abajo. No hay de qué, no hay de qué.
I just want to tell you this story because it shows you the fine line between standing here being inducted into the Hall of Fame and having one more bad start.
Pero si ustedes ven que pongo un pedazo del en vivo, ellos están en vivo ahora mismo. Ellos están en vivo ahora mismo, por eso no podemos dejar el video, porque nos dan copyright de una vez. Nos tumban la transmisión. Por eso le podemos poner un pedacito, lo quitamos. Un pedacito y lo quitamos. Incluso le puse la música ahí para que no se escuche tan directo lo que él está hablando, porque también hasta por eso no pueden tumbar la transmisión.
When I think about the situations I'd get into, bases loaded, 8th inning, nobody out, close game. He didn't run out to the mound, fill me full of information.
No olviden darle su like a la transmisión, mi gente. Por favor.
Figure out a way to get out of it.
Vamos a ver el speeching de cuando David Ortiz suba ahí.
For letting me take ownership of the situation and take ownership of the game and my position. I want to thank several organizations here. The Minnesota Twins, a lot of Minnesota fans here.
Señores, dice que quiera agradecer a muchas personas y a muchas organizaciones, en especial la de los Minnesota Twins, que con esa es que a él lo van a exaltar. Para Minnesota. Jim Cat, ese fue un grande de los Minnesota Twins. Y qué ironía que Minnesota Twins dejó ir a David Ortiz. La cosa de la vida, señor.
Another one that sat back there for a while is not here is Harmon Killebrew. So I'm very thankful for that. And I had two pitching coaches, Eddie Lopat, Johnny Sane, who taught me the art of pitching. 1973, Roland Heeman, Hall of Fame executive, claimed my contract off waivers. I got reunited with Johnny Sane. Chuck Tanner was the most positive baseball person I'd been around as our manager. Many times I thought he was going to send me home. He kept flipping me the ball every 4 days. Between those three guys, they resurrected my career. You know, when you pitch for a long time, you have a lot of catchers. I have 38 of them. Wish I could thank them all. 3 of them are here, all great baseball minds. Tim McCarver, Phil Roof, and back here, Hall of Famer Ted Simmons. And the late Earl Batty caught most of my innings. And with that mellow, soft-spoken voice, he was a great guidance for me in my early years. And in 1982, I finished my career, my last full season with the St. Louis Cardinals. That was the most exciting team I've ever been on and most rewarding year. Because when Bruce Sutter, who's sitting back here, struck out the last hitter in Game 7, it meant that I would be able to wear this World Series ring. And that's what we play for. So I want to thank Whitey Herzog, the manager, all the coaches, every player on that team for enabling me to wear this ring. I am humbled and honored to be included in this fraternity of some of the greatest players to play the game. And I thank you for being part of this wonderful day.
Ya terminó, señores, ya terminó con su speech. ¿Quién será el próximo? ¿Quién será el próximo?
An ad-lib speech, smooth, charismatic.
Miren la placa ahí, miren la placa, la placa. James Lee Cat.
Well, you said it, Greg. We were talking about the marvel of Jim Cott is he remembers everybody's name. I barely remember you two. I sit next to you every day.
Back to the podium.
Bud Fowler into the Hall of Fame family, and to ask Dave Winfield, Hall of Fame class of 2001, who will be speaking about Bud, to join me as Commissioner Manfred reads Bud's plaque.
Señores, para entrar ahí hay que ser duro, de verdad, y tener la verdadera vaina. Mira John Small ahí atrás, David Wells. David Wells. No. Buck Fowler es el próximo, señores. Buck Fowler. Ay. Buck Fowler es el próximo que será inducido al Salón de la Fama de Cooperstown.
In 1895, helped form the Page Fence Giants, one of the earliest teams on the black barnstorming circuit. Spearheaded the creation and promotion of several other successful clubs while moving from pitcher to second base and, at various times, managing.
Bud Fowler, who bounced around from team to team while playing segregated teams early in his
career. Pues Buck Fowler es moreno ese. Oh. Ahí, señores. Buck Fowler. Una de la lista de los verdugos. Cara Cooperstown.
He played on teams based in 22 different states plus Canada and never got the chance to reach the major leagues.
Just amazing, an amazing life. And going back here to this town, Cooperstown, New York, in the 1860s, playing on the streets of Cooperstown with the grandson of James Fenimore Cooper, the famous author. It's amazing. I'm so happy here. Really looking forward to hearing Dave Winfield cover a lot of his career. Dave is a great student of the history of the game in every shape and form.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to see everyone back here in volume in Cooperstown to celebrate the Hall of Fame class of 2022. Today it is my privilege and honor to be able to speak on behalf of today's inductees, a gentleman that was born and
Pero vamos a verle a Ortiz cuando Ortiz llegue, porque él decía que él estaba preparando ese speech, oye, como ya tú sabes, lo tenía estresado. Y Pedro le dijo, oye, tiene que ser tú. Y no olvides dónde tú eres. Miren la placa aquí de Buck Fowler.
His name is John W. Jackson, a.k.a. Bud Fowler.
Buck Fowler.
I'm pleased to be able to speak on his behalf today. For those
que le demos un momento que estoy.
Mr. Bud Fowler, please allow me to tell you who
voy a enseñar un numerito de Buck
what
Fowler.
he accomplished in our great game and about his legend and legacy. With that, I'd like to take you on a brief American history tour. Bud Fowler was born on March 16th in Fort Plain, New York in 1858, only 25 miles of where we are, 25 miles away.
Nació en Nueva York, Buck Fowler.
After his birth, his family moved to Cooperstown, right here. The village historian recorded 28 African Americans living in
Dice Albert, después David Ortiz empezó a dar palo, ya lo sabe. Después que llegó allá con Manny, dice, loco, Manny Ramírez, Salón de la Fama. No, Manny Ramírez no es Salón de la Fama. Manny Ramírez no lo quieren llevar por supuestamente las 2 veces que lo encontraron con los esteroides. Que en realidad no fueron esteroides, en realidad fueron una pastilla para la testosterona, porque él estaba teniendo problemas para eso de los hijos. Y por eso lo agarraron a Pedro. Saludos, Benjamín.
But knowing the times, it was vastly more complicated for him than just signing up to play, no matter what his talents were. There was something.
Jeremy dice, hoy es memorable day for Dominican Republic because the most charismatic baseball player in the country, David Ortiz Arias, entered the Hall of Fame. Hey, el inglés, una vaina bien.
Managing and imagining what this game of baseball could be.
Pero lo que más influye son las estadísticas, Jeremy. Pues si tú no tienes números, tú no vas ahí, aunque tú tengas buen comportamiento. Buck Fowler. Déjeme buscarle los numeritos de Buck Fowler, déjeme ver. Para decirle qué es lo que con Buck Fowler.
Racism ran rampant, even though baseball's color line had not been officially established at that time. This caused him to have frequent affiliations with other teams. For example, while he was playing in Guelph, Ontario, Canada, he was quoted as saying, "Some of the Maple Leafs are ill-natured enough to object to a colored pitcher." In Binghamton, New York, The players refused to take the field until Fowler, the colored second baseman, was removed. Despite the passion for the game, the color of his skin forced him into a nomadic career, seeking teams to play for, sometimes because of his own white teammates or just as much as the opposing teams. He pitched, caught, played second base. He did that for the Keokuk Hawkeyes in Iowa. He played in the Colorado League, played in Kansas for the Topeka Capitals, went to Indiana to play for the
Pero no salen estadísticas de Buck Fowler aquí.
West to join the New Mexico League, Greenville in the Michigan State League, and he led the Nebraska State League with 45 stolen bases in just 30 games. And I learned that he came through my home state of Minnesota and played.
Es el señor que está dando el speech ahí. La palabra que tienen que decir cada uno. Déjeme ver si lo encuentro aquí para decirle.
Bud Fowler came up and got them their first win. He took them out of their funk, and he was rewarded handsomely. We gave him $10 and a brand new suit. Now, he played or managed in well over 50 communities in his career. Fowler himself claimed to have played on teams in 22 different states and in Canada. Now, that likely eclipses any professional athlete, baseball player that you see up here in the Hall of Fame, and perhaps anywhere else. It seems like that song that Johnny Cash wrote that you hear on TV all the time. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere just for Bud Fowler. Now, throughout his career,
Señores, Fowler nació el 16 de mayo del 1858 en Fort Plain, Nueva York. No. ¿O sí? Señores, pero lo que no sabemos es, como yo no sé mucho de esto, este que está hablando, él está hablando por él, porque supuestamente Buck Fowler ya falleció. Es lo que dice por aquí.
He was quoted as saying, back in 1895, my skin is against me. The race prejudice is so strong that my black skin
estos son de los peloteros que ellos inducieron ahí.
Now, facing those never-ending and unrelenting barriers, Bud then became a strong voice and advocate for an all-black league. With that in mind, he helped to start 4 new black teams.
Sí, señores.
He teamed up with Grant Home Run Johnson to form the Page Fence Giants, who were envisioned as the Midwest's.
Pero Fowler debutó en abril del 1878. Ya ustedes saben, para allá abajo. Ay, Dios mío. Oye, para un equipo que se llamaba Chelsea Team en Massachusetts. Ustedes saben que en ese tiempo los nombres eran diferentes a los nombres de ahora de Grandes Ligas. Wow. Wow.
He also had a hand in creating the Smoky City Giants, the All-American Black Tourists, and the Kansas City Stars.
Señores, él murió el 26 de febrero del 1913.
In 1920, Fowler was quoted in the Cincinnati Enquirer in 1904 as saying, "Some of these days."
Está esperando al Big Papi, al Big Papi. Especial yo, señores, yo no. Yo me levanté, me di un baño, me cambié, no he comido nada, tengo un hambre, pero todo por el trabajo, todo por el trabajo. Estamos aquí, transmitiéndole esto del COOPERSTOWN, que tenía creo que 2 años que no se celebraba. Estamos aquí, hay que tener disciplina para esto. La barriga me hace que club.
Throughout his career in baseball, Fowler worked as a barber, a trade his father passed on to him, and one he practiced often during the offseason as he was looking for the next team to join. really wouldn't surprise me a bit if he was one of the first team barbers in professional baseball, since that became his occupation when he finished playing.
Gente, denle like a la transmisión, por favor, denle like para que YouTube la siga compartiendo, Valoren este trabajo que estoy haciendo, señores, sin comer, la barriga haciéndome club, y tratando de llevarle este speeching, este es el Salón de la Fama, así que pendiente, por favor, con un like yo me conformo,
He was laid to rest just 30 miles from where we stand today, in Frankfort, New York, where in 1987, the day before Catfish Hunter, Ray Dandridge and Billy Williams were inducted in the Hall of Fame, a marker was placed on this previously unmarked grave. That event, held by SABRE, the Society for American Baseball Research, was attended by Hall of Famer Monty Irvin and one of Fowler's fellow members.
Me ven concentrado mirando, estoy mirando, estoy concentrado en el speech.
To show my respect on the way into Cooperstown this year, I stopped by his gravesite to pay homage. When it's all said and done, you cannot think of Bud Fowler in statistics alone. Much of his statistical record has been lost to time, but you'll have to understand his entire career as a stellar ball player, equal to and better than others of his time, who gained recognition and notoriety for his play on the field and beyond. He played professionally for over 2 decades, excelling as a pitcher, catcher, second baseman, and he managed for at least 10 of those years. He was listed as
está sudando el hombre, está sudando.
Players of the 19th century and never wore a glove on the field, taking everything that came his way barehanded. By some, he was called the Dean of Black Baseball. So there's an unmistakable line.
Señores, eso es un pueblito de Nueva York llamado Cooperstown. Y ahí pusieron la oficina de eso, del Salón de la Fama y eso.
So I ask, or I suggest, that you remember Bud Fowler in a broad context, not just as a pioneering African-American professional baseball player.
Señores, esos son de los tigres que están ahí, que ya ustedes saben, de la edad pasada, que son los que eligen la mayoría y los que votan para la inducción de esa. Tú sabes que ellos cogen 2, que son como un pase VIP que dan, y lo eligen los que están ahí adentro ya, de esas personas que son mayores. Ya ustedes saben, así que no esperemos que esos jugadores de nosotros, que supuestamente lo mancharon con eso de los esteroides, ellos lo vayan a elegir. Pero está lleno, miren. Está lleno.
Please pay homage to his plaque in the Hall of Fame and note that here in Cooperstown, his hometown, that road leads to Doubleday Field. It's now named after him, Fowler Way, and it was done with much intent. So John W. Jackson, a.k.a. Bud Fowler, congratulations, sir. You've made baseball history today, but you've always been a part of American history. So we all tip our hat to you, and it has been indeed my pleasure representing you here today and your legacy during this well-deserved recognition ceremony today. Thank you, sir. God bless you, and welcome to the National Baseball
Hall of Fame.
Dave Winfield and his voice of God with an outstanding speech on the late Bud Fowler.
Hey, el Big Papi. Ay. Es el que estamos esperando, la verdadera bandera.
Coverage of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony is brought to you by Zenni. Get Hall of Fame style from Zenni with the new David Ortiz eyewear collection.
Ahoy, you're approaching the lighthouse. Retirement, not for papi.
I'm 30 miles offshore. You can see me?
My Zennies keep my papi vision sharp, baby.
How many fingers am I?
Oh, pero espérense que no, los anuncios no van. Los anuncios no van. Los anuncios no van. Que los anuncios te dan copy de una vez. Hey, un saludo a mi hermano Rocky Topo que anda por ahí. Mi hermano Rocky dice saludos, bendiciones para todos, activo, apoyando el canal. Gracias, mi hermano. Como siempre, gracias por ese apoyo que siempre me das. Aquí, tú sabes, sin desayunar, sin comer, la barriga haciéndome clu, 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 clu. Solamente agarré, me bañé, me cambié, ¡pum! A trabajar. Llevándole las incidencias del Cooperstown, poniéndole pedacitos en vivola. Lo que está pasando. Me enganché mi bandera dominicana, tú sabes. Y ready. Quiere me dice trivia para los que están conectados. ¿Quién fue el primer latino a entrar al Salón de la Fama y en qué año? Pero muy buena la trivia. Pero muy buena la trivia. Se lo escribe por ahí mismo de una vez que es Jeremy. Señores, David Ortiz terminó con un WAR en su carrera de 55.3, 8.640 turnos al bate, 2.472 hits conectados, 541 cuadrangular, un promedio de por vida de 286, 1.419 carreras anotadas, 1.768 carreras impulsadas, 17 bases robadas, un slugging de 552 y un OPS, señores, de 931, señores, y un OPS más de 141. Nacido el 18 de noviembre del 1975, David Ortiz a la edad de hoy tiene 46 años de edad. Estudió en la High School de Estudia Espaillá en República Dominicana. Debutó, señores, 2 de septiembre del 1997 a la edad de 21 años. Y ese día contra Chicago se fue, cogió un turno y no hizo nada. Aquí está, señores, los numeritos del Big Papi. El Big Papi. David Ortiz. David Ortiz. Algo de algo. Gente, no olviden darle like a la transmisión, por favor, denle like para que YouTube la siga recomendando a más personas, para que estén pendientes de que aquí estamos en vivola con el Salón de la Fama de Cooperstown en vivo. Una carpa ahí para el sol. Una carpilla para el sol. Pero déjame subirle el volumen.
His widow, Minnie's widow, to come and join me as we ask the commissioner to please read Minnie's plaque.
Saturnino Orestes Armas Ariada Minosa, New York, NL 1946 to 48, Cleveland, AL 1949, 1951, 1958 through 59, Chicago, AL 1951 through 1957.
Está contento el que carga la
1964, 1976,
la placa.
1980. St. Louis, NL 1962.
Miñoso.
Washington, AL,
Mini Miñoso.
1963.
Déjenme ver, Mini Miñoso. Déjenme ver si aparece por aquí los datos de Mini Miñoso. A ver.
Latino ball players to follow as the first dark-skinned Latin American to play AL or NL. lifted Negro National League's New York Cubans to 1947 championship before setting American League ablaze with his base running and clutch hitting for the Go-Go White Sox of the 1950s. Led AL in stolen bases 3 times and triples 3 times from 1951 through 61.
Cubano, señores, Miñoso, cubano.
Game selections and 3 Gold Glove awards.
Le doy los numeritos ahora. Hey, el Big Papi, véanlo ahí. David Ortiz.
Across 20 major league seasons, hit .299 with 195 homers, 216 steals,
Cuban Comet.
387 on base percentage.
Señores, Mini Miñoso tuvo un WAR de 53.8, 7.059 turnos al bate, conectó 2.113 hits, 195 cuadrangulares, 299 de promedio de por vida, 127 carreras anotadas, 1.089 remolcadas. Se robó, señores, 216 bases robadas, un slugging de 461 y un OPS de 848. Nació el 29 de noviembre del 1923 en un pueblo llamado Perico, Cuba. Murió el 1 de marzo del 2015 a la edad de 91 años de edad. Debutó en el 1946 y fue el pelotero 10.013 en la historia de la Grandes Ligas. Fue 13 veces al Juego de Estrellas, señores. Fue campeón de la Serie Mundial del 1947 y fue 3 veces guante de oro. Ahí está, señor. Ella está dando el speeching por él porque, como ustedes saben, ya no está con nosotros.
Also the Hall of Fame Board of Directors and staff who made us all feel
en el 2015.
Thank you as well to the members of the Hall of Fame Era Committee who voted for Minnie's induction last December. I'd also like to congratulate this year's 2022 inductees, Tony Oliva, Jim Pott, David Ortiz, and also the families of Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, and Buck O'Neill. And I think that all of you on this stage would agree with Minnie when he would say that baseball has been very, very good to me. On behalf of Minnie, as well as our whole family, we'd like to thank the Chicago White Sox organization. Thank you for your kindness and support, especially Jerry Reinsdorf, Howard Pfizer, Scott Reifert, Joe Simmons, and also Christine O'Reilly. I consider Christine Minnie's work wife and appreciated all of her help over the years in keeping Minnie organized with his appearances and many requests. It truly took a village to care for my husband. Thank you to all the players and families who befriended Minnie and our family over the many years. Minnie considered everyone at the White Sox his extended family, including all the employees who loved my husband and were so excited at his receiving this honor. Mr. White Sox loved you all. Thank you to all the friends and many supporters who continue to advocate for him over the many years. Bob Kendrick of the Nigger League Hall of Fame, Joe Pisnaski, Bill James, Orlando Cepeda, Adrian Burgo, and Eduardo and Tony Perez. The list is simply too long to include everyone, but know we love and appreciate you all.
Señores, yo creo que déjenme ver, pues yo creo que se puede. Déjenme ver. Yo creo que se puede dejar.
Sox era of the 50s, many fell in love with the city of Chicago, and the White Sox fan returned the love over and over again.
Tengo que chequear bien, señor. Yo creo que se puede dejar ahí, porque yo
We'd
veo.
like to offer a special acknowledgement to Chuck Comiskey and the Comiskey family, as well as Minnie's teammates, Billy Pierce, Nellie Fox, Louis Aparicio, Chico Carrascal, Moose Scourin, Jim Landis, and Jungle Jim Rivera, who all were so kind and helpful towards Minnie when he first arrived in the United States while playing in the major leagues. We also send our love to Ron Kittle, who Minnie mentored during Ron's early career and referred to Minnie as Papa Minnie. Over his 75 years in the game, Minnie enjoyed so many relationships with baseball. In addition to the major leagues, his career took him to Cuba, the Negro Leagues, and the Mexican leagues, decade after decade after decade after decade after decade after decade after decade. 75 years in baseball. Minnie enjoyed a very special bond with his countrymen. Players like Jose Cardinal, our son Charlie's godfather, Louis Tian, and our fellow inductee, Tony Oliva. He played the role of surrogate father and mentor to many Cubans, including Jose Contreras, Alexi Ramirez, Orlando Hernandez, and Jose Abreu. Los Obama, El Todos. We love you all. While Minnie's been inducted to other esteemed halls of fame, including Cuba and the Dominican Republic, it would have meant the world to Minnie to see this day and be here himself, knowing he was inducted to Cooperstown Hall of Fame alongside baseball's greatest players. And what makes today's recognition especially bittersweet is that Minnie faced many obstacles to arrive at this day. As a dark-skinned Afro-Latino in the height of segregation, he knew of the racial and cultural challenges that he would endure coming to the United States. He tolerated them so he could play professional baseball and fulfill his own American dream. Little did he know as a pioneer that he was opening doors for countless others behind him, some of them who sit proudly on the stage. As a youngster growing up in Cuba, Minnie learned an important lifelong lesson from his parents. Regardless of the situation, respond to negativity as a gentleman. When an opposing pitcher came up and intentionally threw a fastball at Minnie's head, the very best reply Minnie had was to have a big smile on his face and hit a line drive to outfield. Through it all, Minnie was never bitter, despite the many injustices and hardships he faced. Today's honor bestowed upon Minnie is most appropriate, not only as a Hall of Fame player, but Minnie was always a gentleman and Hall of Fame person, off the field and in the community. Minnie loved people who they were as individuals, and he would say,
Buscando aquí, señores,
we should
pero
all love and
veo
respect
que todo el mundo
each
lo
other,
tiene
no
puesto.
matter our color or differences. He was a great ambassador for the
Pero
game
no me atrevo a dejarlo
of
así
baseball in
porque
the city of Chicago. Baseball was his life. He was proud to wear his uniform, to come to the ballpark every day, to greet fans with a smile and sign autograph after autograph. Some people believe that Minnie signed an autograph for every man, woman, and child in the Windy City. I'd like to acknowledge Minnie's children and grandchildren. Our son, Charlie Rice Manoso, Minnie's daughter, Marilyn Macias, and spouse,
Están quitando a la gente.
and grandchildren, Yvette and Astrubal Jr.
¿Quién es eso, señores?
Also his daughter, Cecilia,
Que vea.
and spouse, Herb, and grandson, Lorenzo. Unable to join us today is Orestes Jr., who unfortunately passed away this past March. Orestes played with his dad in the Mexican League in the winters in the 1970s. And sadly, he did not get to see his dad's induction ceremony today. Second to the number of autographs Minnie signed is the amount of food he cooked. Holidays and family gatherings with Minnie were filled with delicious Cuban food and messy kitchens, which his daughters and I were left cleaning up. He would also have hours of domino marathons with the son-in-law and grandsons. During the winter time, Minnie and I would have very competitive domino games between the two of us. These were some of my fondest memories and fun times with him. Playing dominoes in front of the fireplace.
Hey, saludo tu papá.
Feet under the table. His favorite cowboy movie on, and also him having something cooking in the kitchen too.
No, a Miñoso lo están saltando ahora. Ella está hablando de él, Benjamin. Ella es la que está hablando de él ahora mismo.
Commitment to hard work and giving back, as well as a passion and love for life. From a humble ranch in Cuba to the National Baseball Hall of Fame, what a way to honor such a remarkable life lived.
El tiempo activo lo tiene que ser, yo creo que para ellos.
To be an American and a professional baseball player. He also would have been so very.
Dice Darling, esa ñoña se va a llevar todo el show, güey. No, lo que pasa es que tú sabes que son, tienen que dar su speech, o sea, no sé cómo dice en español, cuando tienen que hablar, tienen que dar su comunicado, y son largos. El de David Ortiz va a ser largo también. Grita, después de 5 años es que son elegibles al Salón de la Fama. Un pelotero se retira hoy, 2022. En el 2027 ya es elegible para ir al Salón de la Fama, a la boleta. Ya terminó. Aplauso para ella, aplauso. Ya en el caso de Clemente, pues sí, eso pueden ser, ellos pueden elegir. Hay dos jugadores de eso, hay un par de jugadores de eso que a Miñoso y toda esa gente lo eligieron así, fue por eso. Gente, no olviden darle like a la transmisión, por favor, suscribirse al canal y activar la campanita de notificaciones. Cirila de los Santos, saludos Cirila. Quiero que llegue David Ortiz rápido. Olivo López, señores, viene ahora. Olivo López, Román Free. Tony Pedro Oliva. Vamos a buscar los numeritos de Tony Oliva. A ver.
With 8 straight All-Star seasons from 1964 through 71, earning MVP votes in all 8 years.
A ver si aparece.
1964 Rookie of the Year, paced AL in
sí, Tony Oliva, señores, cubano también, cubano. Déjenme darle los datos. No, Cristian, pues tú estás viendo cuánto han pasado ya. Han pasado 2 y con este 3. Yo subí una foto. Mira, ve. Te voy a decir, este mismo año, ¿sabes cuánto hay, ve? David Ortiz, Jim Cat, Tony Oliva, Fowler, Mini, Hill House y Boco Neo. 7 eligieron este año. 7 eligieron este año.
Top 4 in hits, homers, RBIs. He was a coach on the World Championship teams in 87 and 91.
Well, that may be the greatest impact that he had on the organization, giving them a hitting philosophy.
Déjenme decirles las estadísticas de Tony Oliva, Las estadísticas de Tony Oliva, señores. Dice que nació el 20 de julio del 1938. Todavía está vivo, creo yo que sí, está vivo. Tiene 84 años de edad y nació en Pinar del Río, Cuba. Debutó en septiembre 9 del 1962 en Grandes Ligas a la edad de 24 años y fue el pelotero 2028 en pisar la Grandes Ligas en ese tiempo. Esa vez debutó contra Detroit, un solo turno, no hizo nada. Y el último juego fue el 29 de septiembre del 1976, señora, a la edad de 38 años, contra Texas, y no hizo nada en un solo turno. Terminó con un WAR de 43. Terminó con 43 de WAR, 6.301 turnos, 1.917 hits, 220 cuadrangulares, 304 de promedio, 870, señores, carreras anotadas, 947 carreras impulsadas, 86 bases robadas, un slugging de 476 y un OPS de 830. Los numeritos de Tony Oliva. Pero velo aquí, señores. Él está ahí. Él está ahí, Tony. Ese es él. Pero bien. Ese es el sabe inglés heavy.
After 4 days of spring training, Minnesota Twins not having no room for me. They released me. They take me to Charlotte.
Señores, oigan lo que dice él, que también el equipo de Minnesota lo dejó en libertad, lo votó. Oye. Pero Minnesota sufre de eso, de votar los jugadores duros.
They keep me there. Why meet this wonderful French Cuba baseball player, Rigoberto Mendoza. He's speaking with the general manager of Charlotte, North Carolina. And this general manager, Fair House, he's speaking from Calvin Griffith, the owner of the ball club. And the owner of the ball club, he signed me again. He gave me the opportunity.
Y los Piratas también, Cristian.
And you know, everybody here know, everything after that was history. I went down to a rookie league, I doing my thing. I hit 410. After that, I was a Superman. But I have it. I've been so blessed and so lucky. The veteran, the Golden Era Committee, putting me in the Hall of Fame. And all those guys right there behind me, the Hall of Fame, for keeping me in the ballot for 45 wonderful years. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And thank you, guys. You know, listen, when I hear the phone call for that beautiful lady right there, James, I can't believe it. I answered the phone. My wife kissed me in the head. Was about 30 people in the room. Everybody was crying. I don't know what to say. I passed the phone to my good friend, Julie, from the ball club. I said, Julie, answer the phone. Julie said, no, it's you call. I was so happy. You never know how happy I was. I think that I was my last boss. If I don't go to the Hall of Fame, that time it's all over for Tony. I think, I'm 84 years old. Before I forget it, I want to tell you, I was 84 3 days ago.
Let's go!
Hey, el Big Papi.
You know, that was beautiful.
Quiere decir que tiene 84 años, 84 años, usted solo dijo a usted.
I get very dry. They bought all committee. You know, those people who work so hard. All my friends to vote, and keep my name alive.
Ya, Cristian. Juan Galilea Roja, positivo. Saludos. Señores, motívense. Como le dije ahí en el super chat, motívense a apoyar este canal, lo que usted entienda, $1, $2, $1, 5 centavos. Y que apoyen a través de los super chats y los super stickers, mi gente. Tony Oliva, cubano, señores, exaltado al Salón de la Fama 2022. Ahí ustedes lo están escuchando, dando su speech. Él ama Minnesota.
No, I'm sorry. The president of the Minnesota Twins is my friends. My good
Pero que
he good friend of the family. I don't have enough words to tell you how nice person he is, how good he is for me.
Claro, los cubanos tienen que estar activos, porque ellos saben que lo que es con ellos. Duro.
But every day I see him, he's happy. Yeah, it's so blessed to be able to play for Minnesota Twins. I wait for Minnesota Twins all those years because from the top to the bottom, everybody first class. I'd like to thank you, all my teammates. If you know what's about my teammates, if you know what's about those coaches, I like there's one coach here today, maybe it's more, but there's one coach here today. He's maybe 94 years old because he's all like me.
Mira, no olviden darle su like, denle su like,
But he killing me.
denle su like a la transmisión, por favor.
I know what I'm talking about. He used his 100-gram ball to me and 100-fly ball to me every day because in the 1961, 1962, I don't was able to catch a ground ball, fly ball. You know, that was the truth, guys. But I was very proud that 5 years later, I win the Golden Glove in American League. Yeah, I'm very proud to be able to go to the Hall of Fame today.
Mira, vamos a ver lo que David. Bueno, ustedes saben que David Ortiz dijo que él no va a hablar mucho. Supuestamente él va a decir un par de cositas y va a salir huyendo de ahí porque que esta gente han hablado mucho, o sea, tienen una historia larga que contar. Pero vamos a ver, David Ortiz dijo que no va a durar mucho, que va a decir lo que hay que decir, no va a estar inventando y...
That was a song, you know, that was in Blibo and Miñoso for us.
La está pasando bien, Oliva.
Robinson in America, you know. But I still not believe that because you're black or you're white, you have to represent, you know, the what you are. I think when you're black and you play good and you play hard and you know, give it 100%, the people admire you. No matter if it's white.
Tiene a Vladimir Guerrero ahí donde anda.
The people here for you. I like to thank you.
Que le dice que si usted, no importa si usted es blanco, moreno, de cualquier color, ustedes saben que ustedes tienen que ser ustedes mismos.
No money. I'm not speaking any English. Here today, I'm not speaking too good. But you know,
Nosotros hablamos de eso, Jeremy, tú sabes cómo es.
of the Minnesota Twin ball player was a Spanish, especially 90% was Cuban. We got it.
Vamos a ver, Jeremy, él dijo eso. Vamos a ver si lo cumple.
Like my brother, Camilo Pascual, de Pete Ramos, de Orlando Martinez, Valdivieso, all those guys was there. Sandoval Espino was there. You know, all those guys was there. I have a chance to play with them, and they babysitted me. They was very nice to me.
Ay, está hablando de David Ortiz, está hablando de David Ortiz.
American ball players, I like Hamon Killebrew. I tell everybody Killebrew was too nice to be a baseball player. He was good hitting, but he was a great pitcher. Great pitcher. I have the opportunity to play with another guy, my teammate. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame because in the 60s and the 70s, he was by the number 3 pitcher in the American League. This young man is Luis Diante. I think pretty soon you're going to see him here. I played with my roommate, Rod Carew. Him and me, we roommate 11 years. You know, my good friend and brother, Orlando Cepeda, Danny Perry. You know, I have many great people, great friends. And now, I talk to you a little bit. Like this guy go today into Hall of Fame, the Big Papi.
Hey, David Ortiz, the Big Papi.
He was from Minnesota 20 a few years.
Sí, miren a Pedro ahí detrás.
But the best thing happened to Big Papi was went to Boston. Because Boston was, Martinez was there, Ramirez was there. It was good for him. But, you know, but
el Big Papi. Le dio un churrado, señora, a toda la gente que jugaban con él, Minnesota y vaina.
The way the baseball work and the front office work, they want the players, the best for the players. And they think that for me.
Señores, pero él se está curando de verdad, él se está curando de verdad. Es un show ha montado Tony Oliva.
From Boston, he got all those great years. He said, I don't like what he did against us. He every time he faced us, he pay back. I don't like that, you know. But, you know, having the opportunity since I've been in Minnesota 61 years, I was in the Campolac era. Wonderful. We enjoy every moment when we win the World Series in 87 and 91. I have the chance to be there from Kirby Pocket. He called me Papa. Nice guy. Very nice guy. I was in Hobeck. Was there. I work in the manual league. You have a chance to teach all those guys a little bit. I give a little bit my advice. Not everything, all a little bit. But we did it real well. We win 2 World Series. And a lot of those guys here today, I wish I can say, you know, mention everybody, but it's too hard for me. But now I'm going to take another little thing for you guys, because I don't want to take too much time. I want to introduce my family. My wonderful, beautiful wife. The wife meet her that Godetto Oliva. Wife meet her back in.
Esa es su esposa, yo creo, señores. Esa es su esposa. Doré Oliva fue que él dijo.
Chinos speak Spanish.
Ay, los chinos.
The whole conversation was, what?
¡Qué cura! Ey, no, pero están curando, de verdad. Está curado.
They have a party line, you know. About 15 people want in the line. No gringo understand.
Es una cura que él tiene, señor.
We have a great time. Gentlemen, this is my wife, Godetto Oliva, my daughter Anita, my son.
De la hija, ¿ves? El hijo.
Pedro, he's not here today. He's at home. He don't like to travel, but he watch. He enjoy it. My son Rick, my grandson Joel, my grandson Alex, Nick, and the beautiful little Mari, and my brother Reynaldo, and my brother Juan Carlos.
Esos dos son hermanos que tienen broche morado y rosado.
They have the opportunity to play for the Cuban national team. Gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you to all the fans, all the wonderful fans, all those fans from all over the world. The fans from, I know you, a lot of you people traveling long way to be here. I have a lot of family here today who come out for long, long way. Friends who is here today who come out for long, long ways. I appreciate you very much, very much. And thank you all those people, especially those people from Minnesota.
Déjame ver, ya eligieron a Jim Cat, Tony Oliva, que es el que está hablando, Fowler, Piñoso. Faltan 3, señores, faltan 3. Falta Hill House, Poco Neo. ¡Hey! El Pedro es grande. Es el mío ese, es el mío, con Manny. Y David Ortiz.
Estoy mirando muchas banderas cubanas.
Ay, en español, en español.
Puertorriqueñas de todos lugares, pero me alegro mucho, estoy muy contento de ser cubano. Tú sabes. Y están aquí hoy porque yo sé que muchos de los cubanos están mirando lo que está pasando aquí hoy en Cubita y ellos me apoyaron todo el tiempo en Cuba y aquí en los Estados Unidos y en cualquier parte que esté.
En español, para ustedes, en español.
Me gustaría poder estar junto con ustedes o que más estuvieran aquí, pero por situaciones no pueden hacer. Pero yo lo adoro, lo quiero y lo llevo aquí siempre en el corazón. Y cada momento que pasa, mi mente es en mi Cubita. La quiero, nunca me olvido de ella y tú sabes, le deseo la mejor suerte. También quiero dar las gracias a México, donde estuve mucho tiempo, que me dio la oportunidad de jugar, y también Manichal. Colombia, también fui en Colombia. Puerto Rico, que fue donde empecé en la pelota de invierno, y Santo Domingo.
Ay, República Dominicana.
Me pusieron en el Salón de la Fama y es un orgullo para mí y tener la oportunidad que yo he visto.
Tony Oliva está en el Salón de la Fama de República Dominicana.
Más en la pelota de todos lugares, no solamente de Cuba, de Puerto Rico, de Santo Domingo, Venezuela, de todas las partes. Este es un trabajito muy bonito. Pero ustedes se tienen
con el de Boston, el de Boston.
Y yo nunca pensé en mi vida que yo iba a estar aquí. Nunca. Mi sueño era jugar pelota en Cuba, si era posible. Muchas gracias y que Dios lo bendiga a todos. Thank you very much. And God bless you. And baseball being very good to me.
Señores, pero tiene mucho hablando. Es como que le gusta hablar a Tony Oliva. Ay, terminó. Uy. Faltan 3.
Four speeches down, 3 more to go. We come back. We hear from the daughter of Gil Hodges, Irene Hodges.
Señores, ahora usted está ahí en el Salón de la Fama, señores, con todo eso duro. Ahí no está el mundo que está. Ahí están los duros de verdad, La verdadera gente, Pedro, David, Mariano, Tommy. Ay, pero mucho. Señores, creo que faltan 3 jugadores. Hill Hoggins. Esperen que comenzaron los anuncios. Falta David Ortiz y falta Buck O'Neill. 3 jugadores más faltan, Ay. 3 más para el Salón de la Fama. Benjamín. Gracias, Jeremy. Lo que pasa es que Mele Beneco, a la hora de hablar de Martínez, lo presentan como un uniforme de Expo. Sí, pero es de Boston. Yo no le he visto a Derejiri ahí, ¿no? Quizá no fue. No lo han presentado. No le han dado su camarita a Derek Jeter. Dando anuncios, mi gente, allá en ese pueblito de New York. Yo con hambre. Vamos, David, let's go, let's go. I wanna see you.
On the bus, and you saw the buses as we came in, and Billy Williams was sitting next to me, and we all were just saying, wow, look at this crowd. We know the effort that you put in, and the Hall of Famers greatly appreciate and are touched by you all coming out here again today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. And as we continue our 2022 induction ceremony, as chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor to welcome Gil Hodges into the Hall of Fame family.
Señores, Gil Hodges es el próximo. Gil Hodges. Al parecer van a dejar el Big Papi para último. Ay, 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 esto iba a estar bueno.
Gilbert Ray Hodges, Gil, Brooklyn, NL 1940.
Déjenme ver los numeritos de Gil Hodges.
57. Los Angeles, NL 1958 through 61. New York, NL 1962-63. Cleanup hitter and foundational cornerstone of the celebrated Dodger teams that won 7 National League pennants and 2 World Series over 13 seasons in the late 1940s and 50s. 8-time All-Star, topped 20 home runs in 11 straight years, and hit 4 in one game in 1950. One of the finest defensive first basemen of his era, won first 3 Gold Gloves awarded at the position from 1957 through 59. Finished with 370 home runs, 3rd highest total among right-handed batters at the time of his retirement. Managed Washington
Señores,
and New York for 9 seasons.
Gil Hodges terminó con un WAR de 43.9 en 7.030 turnos que cogió, dio 1.921 hits, conectó 370 cuadrangulares Batió 273 de promedio, 1,105 carreras anotadas, 1,274 carreras impulsadas, 63 bases robadas, un slugging de 487 y un OPS de 846, señores. Nació el 4 de abril del 1924 en Town, New York, y murió el 2 de abril del 1972, 2 días antes de haber nacido, señor. O sea, él nació el 4 de abril y murió un 2 de abril. A la edad de 47 años, señores. Wow, tan joven. En Florida murió. Wow, joven.
Thank you very much. I would like to begin by offering a very humble and grateful.
Señora hija, esta es la hija de él, una de las hijas de él.
That have been with me on this journey. First and foremost, Chairman of the Hall of Fame, Ms. Jane Forbes Clark. I thank you for your most gracious and heartfelt welcome to the Hodges family. Each and every experience leading today has been flawless and unforgettable as a result of your dedication and leadership. I'd also like to thank Josh Rawitch, Hall of Fame President, who has stood by my side since the beginning in support of my family. Your kindness has always been so appreciated. And certainly not least, two very special people who have held my hand and my heart along the way, John and Whitney. You are such a dynamic team. Each and every family representative is so lucky to have you guide us and cheer us as we prepare for this special moment in time. I would also like to thank my family for being here, for being a part of the most wonderful celebration for my dad. It is such a privilege to stand here today as the Hall of Fame honors my father. He was a very humble man, but he would be so proud to be here with the best of the best in baseball.
Hey, Michael Jordan.
50 years ago, not only
Parece ese moreno Michael. Ahí.
We lost
Los
a
Manfred.
husband and a father. Our greatest gift, although my father's life was cut so short, was his influence on those around him. His teammate, Jackie Robinson, once said, a life is not important except for the impact it leaves on others. My father sincerely believed that.
Le dice que la vida no importa. Usted no crea un impacto en las demás personas. Abras.
The baseball player, what he did on the field and in the dugout. You will hear how he was the dominant first baseman of the 1950s. You will hear how he led
Señores, tomando usted el atrevimiento.
in home runs,
Aguante ese sol por el Cooperstown.
games played. And you will hear also how he took a team affectionately known as the Lovable Losers and turned them into the Miracle Mets in just 2 short seasons. But I am his daughter, and I am here to tell you about the man he was. Nobody loved the game of baseball more than my dad. He worked tirelessly to make it to the major leagues. He achieved his dream appearing in his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1943. But he loved his country even more. After his very first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. My dad was a selfless person, and he knew he had to serve his country. He would leave his baseball career behind, never knowing if he would make it back, and he would serve and protect his country. My dad proudly served in the Battle of Okinawa, where he was awarded the Bronze Medal and a Combat V Medal for heroism under fire. Through all this, my father never lost sight of his faith and his love of people. During his time in Okinawa, he would befriend the Japanese children who were so frightened by the American soldiers. My father would gather the children from the village along with his fellow Marines and teach them baseball. It gave them some joy back in their life where the war had robbed them of. Later on, when Jackie Robinson became the first African American to break the color barrier in Major League Baseball, nothing was more important to my dad than giving Jackie all of his support. We were like family with the Robinsons. Jackie's kids played in our house, we played in theirs. My dad were not only teammates with Jackie, but they were family. My father made everyone feel comfortable and accepting of Jackie when he came to the big leagues. Recently, I heard a story about my dad, which I believe shows the support Jackie had from his teammates. During a game, Jackie was being heckled by the opposing dugout nonstop. At one point, my dad had had enough of that. He put down his glove. He went to the top.
Let's go, let's go.
Hey, mi hermano Rocky. Gracias por tu donación, mi hermano, como siempre. Gracias por esa donación, brother. Dios te bendiga, Dios bendiga a tu familia. Y dice Rocky, señores, el problema con Juan Soto es que no depende de él, depende de los nacionales. ¿No de qué están hablando? ¿Del cambio? No, Jeremy, esa es la hija de él, esa es la hija de él, brother. Ella es la hija de él. Gracias, Rocky. Señora, anímense como Rocky, anímense. Igual que yo, hice una donación, así que anímense ustedes a hacer sus donaciones, por favor. En la placa ahí. El cambio y negocio, sí, no es así. El cambio, quien sabe de ellos, los nacionales de Washington, si es pan de ellos quieran cambiar lo que va, no pan del diga, porque él está bajo contrato sobre ellos todavía. There was never any pretense about him. He was an ordinary man, and everybody knew him. He was respected, and he showed respect to everyone as well. When my father slumped in the 1952 World Series, Brooklyn fans loved him. Who goes 0 for 21 and gets a standing ovation every time at bat? That's exactly what happened to my dad. The Brooklyn fans loved my father, and they loved their team. So when the Dodgers finally beat the Yankees in 1955 World Series, it was one of the greatest days that Brooklyn had ever known. There was no more wait till next year. So it's easy to understand that when the Dodgers left Brooklyn, the borough lost a piece of its heart. My dad was also proud of being part of a Dodger team that won it all in 1959. After his playing days ended, his strong leadership skills would lead him to a managerial position, with his biggest days coming back in New York and with the New York Mets. Some of his players feared him, others complained about his platooning system, but they respected him. He was a fair manager. He wanted the best from every player on the field and believed they could do that. He felt the team owed that to the fans and to the front office. The expectation, you always give 100%. My father already had a reputation for being a stern manager with the Washington Senators. He was very strict on bed check during road trips Señores, murió joven, murió a los 46 años de edad. 46 años de edad y 364 días. Wow.
Some of the players had skipped bed check, and there was a cigar box on.
Jugaba primera base y outfielder, tiraba a la derecha y bateaba a la derecha. Era derecho por completo.
There was $700 in that box. It was important to my dad to create an atmosphere of honesty in his clubhouse, and he did just that. The most important lesson he taught his players and his children: never lie. He would tell
Vamos, señores, que después de este nos quedan dos. Uno más para David Ortiz. Seguro van a elegir a Boco Neo y después David Ortiz lo van a dejar para último. David, oye, tú tienes que hablar mucho ahí. No me vayas tú con esa loquera que tú dijiste, que no dura mucho ahí. Esta gente está dando el verdadero speech.
We brought the championship home, and that's how he felt. He truly loved his team, and he loved managing them. He knew how good they could be and how successful they would be, and now they believed it. The great Met pitcher Jerry Koosman said, Gil Hodges was the most important part of our 69 Met team because he made us believe in ourselves.
Hambre y sueño.
69 Mets did what nobody thought could be done, and that made my father so proud for his team. I am proud today that we have 4 of our amazing Mets with us to honor my dad: Cleon Jones, Ed Kranepool, Art Shamsky, and Ron Swoboda.
Rocky Topo dice: bendiciones para todos, veré la repetición. Gracias, mi hermano Rocky. Estás ocupado, no hay problema, brother. La repetición la puedes ver por aquí cuando quede grabada, para que veas el Big Papi y todo lo que dijo. Sí. Bueno, iba a hablar inglés seguro y después en español, pero aquí estará. Tiene que trabajar.
I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to thank the most outstanding Met I know, and that is Jay Horowitz and his lovely lady Linda. Thank you both so much for all you have done to help celebrate this very special time in our family's lives. My mom loves you both so much. Your daily calls brighten her day, and we love you both so much. My dad's humility, ever present. In his office, right after the big win, my mom said to him, Gil, call your mother. She must be so excited. My dad's reply, Joan, that's a long-distance call. I don't think I should make that from the office. I'll wait until I go home. Here, he had just achieved a miracle of all baseball miracles. Yet he would only do what he thought was the right thing. That was my dad. Today, I am especially happy for my mother. When the call came from the Hall of Fame and I heard, this is Jane Forbes Clark and it is my honor, I began sobbing probably as much as I did when I lost my father. I was so beyond happy for him and even thrilled that my mom at 95 would be able to hear this news. My mom is watching today from our home in Brooklyn. And to my dad, I love you so much, and I miss you every day. And I know you are smiling from heaven, now with our sister Barbara, who we miss unbelievably. And without a doubt, I know you're celebrating with Tom and the boys of summer. Thank you.
Terminó ella, señores, terminó ella. Terminó ella.
As we continue this afternoon, It is my honor as the chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame to welcome Buck O'Neill into the Hall of Fame family.
Buck O'Neill.
And to ask his niece, Dr. Angela Terry, to join me as Commissioner Manfred reads the inscription on Buck's plaque.
Yo creo que la nieta va a recibir.
Character, integrity, and dignity defined a life dedicated to baseball as player, manager, scout, coach, and champion of Negro League's legacy.
Déjenme ver los numeritos de Buck O'Neill. Señores, David Ortiz era el último.
Kansas City Monarchs of the late 1930s and 40s, winning Negro World Series in 1942. Took the helm as successful Monarchs manager of the 1940s through mid-1950s.
Ok, señores, vamos a darle los numeritos de Buck O'Neill. Dice que Buck O'Neill tuvo un WAR de 1.9 en 1314 turnos al bate, 342 hits, 12 cuadrangulares, 260 de promedio, 211 carreras anotadas, 189 carreras remolcadas, 49 bases robadas, un slugging de 365 y un OPS de 686. Nació el 13 de noviembre del 1911 en Carabel, Florida. Murió el 6 de octubre del 2006 a la edad de 94 años de edad en Kansas City. Fue 3 veces Juego de Estrella y ganó la Serie Mundial en 1942. Y está hoy siendo exaltado por la opción que tienen los jugadores de mayor antigüedad.
And he defines everything that's right about baseball.
De la nieta, supuestamente.
Good afternoon. As one of Uncle John's
Sí, la nieta.
heirs, I am appreciative of this opportunity to express the family's deepest gratitude for this highest recognition for his baseball career.
Un momento, man.
Though any member of the family could share with you their memorable moments with Uncle John, whether that moment was when he made them feel 10 feet tall, or whether that moment was when he gave them the keep on keeping on pep talk, or when they realized how blessed they were to have such a special uncle. But I am the one standing before you today, primarily because I hold the longest membership in AARP. And age does indeed have its privileges. So I'll begin by expressing the family's thanks to the Early Baseball Era Committee for their selection of Uncle John as a member of the class of 2022. We also applaud the committee for not subjectively limiting their interpretation of an exceptional career in baseball to a singular focus upon statistics. In other words,
expanding their view to include the totality of one's work in baseball. In addition, the family would like to thank Mrs. Clark, Chairman of the Board of Directors, and Mr. Warridge, President of the Hall of Fame, for their calls of congratulations. Your words added an additional song of jubilation to our hearts. Thank you. If Uncle John were here with us this afternoon, his usual spirit of humility and gratefulness would be on full display. He would quickly deflect the limelight away from himself to focus upon those who loved, inspired, and supported his lifelong passion for baseball. For example, to name just a few, Aunt Ora, his beloved wife of 50 plus years, and his best friend. Dr. B.B. Martin, black owner of the Memphis Red Sox, who in signing Uncle John in 1937 made his dreams of playing in the Negro Leagues a reality. J.L. Wilkerson, the white owner of the Kansas City Monarchs, with whom
bueno, ya tenemos 1 hora y 42 minutos transmitiendo esto,
and one who Uncle John always said treated him like a son. Ken Burns, the award-winning filmmaker and documentarian, who shone a megalight upon the Negro Leagues in his highly acclaimed documentary, Baseball, in 1994. And last, but in no way least, Bob Kendrick. President
A ver, esto.
included a Sunday, you knew you would be accompanying him to a Methodist service that Sunday, regardless of your denomination. And with those visits, I came to learn over the years some of Uncle John's favorite Bible verses. One he often referenced was Romans 5, verses 1 through 5.
Señora, atrás viene David Ortiz, lo que estamos esperando, Dominicana en la casa.
And I quote, affliction, produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. End quote. Personally, I sometimes wondered if this particular verse was one of his favorites because of the racial inequities he had undoubtedly faced during his 94 years of life. However, I never asked him and concluded that this particular verse was a part of his North Star. Our Uncle John was a man for all seasons, whose core was brotherly love. And perhaps there was no better public display of that love than when he would sing this song to adults and children audiences alike, including when he stood on this very stage in 2006 to honor the 17 Negro Leaguers elected to the Hall of Fame that year. The lyrics to that song are only 10 words long, and I quote, "The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. Thank you for loving our uncle."
Ay, terminó, señores. Bueno, este pone atención. Ahí viene David Ortiz. Bueno, esto se pone bueno.
Buck O'Neil reciting the lyrics of that famous song that he sang back in 2006 right here in Cooperstown.
In loving you.
So nice. We come back, one speech left. Big Papi live from Cooperstown. Next.
Join Kevin Millar.
I'm just a dude that loves baseball.
And Steven.
Anuncios, anuncios. Viene David Ortiz ahora, lo que queremos ver, todo lo que queremos ver. Señores, digan todo. 541 cuadrangulares de David Ortiz, ¿qué es lo que? Estoy loco que llegue David ya, porque tengo hambre y me duele la barriga. Señores, ¿y ustedes qué es lo que ustedes dicen? Digan algo, digan algo, digan algo. Bueno, señores, se acerca, se acerca, se acerca. El tiempo del beat, papi.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ay, 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 ay.
as chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor to welcome David Ortiz to the Hall of Fame family.
La bulla, la bulla. Ay, ay, ay. El beat, papi, el beat, papi, el beat, papi,
And I'd like to ask Commissioner Manfred to please read the inscription on David's plaque.
David Americo
Dominicano, dominicano, ponga la bandera, los que son orgullosos de ser dominicanos.
1997 through 2002, Boston AL 2003 through 16. Powerhouse left-handed slugger who was at his best in the clutch with legendary postseason performances that took the Red Sox from championship drought to 3 World Series titles in 10-year stretch. 8 times named top designated hitter while earning 10 All-Star selections. Drove in 100 or more runs in 10 seasons, leading American League 3 times. His 541 home runs, 632 doubles, and 1,768 RBI are all-time highs among designated hitters. Extra innings walk-off hits in games 4 and 5 of 2004 ALCS netted series.
Miren la bandera ahí como están, señores. Ay, 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 ay.
Batting average 688 en route to 2013 World Series MVP.
When you're this popular, there are so many people that love David, that know David personally, that are waiting to hear their name in this speech. Am I right?
Well, everybody here feels like he's
Con
their
46
best friend.
años, el Big Papi, Salón de la Fama.
I mean, we've been coming here for years, right? And the crowd
Miren
is
la,
so
la,
big.
la placa, señores. Ay, 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 ay. Esa placa ahí,
But listen to what's going on behind us. He hasn't even started talking.
Miren cómo está la gente. El momento esperado de todo el mundo,
Like all the fans, Harold. You gotta grab the moment.
El momento esperado de todo el mundo.
Well, this is the grand finale of the 2022 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We are live in Cooperstown, New York.
Ay, 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 el speech de David Ortiz. Vamos a ver lo que David Ortiz va a decir. Ay, se va a quitar los lentes.
Estamos aquí, mi gente.
Comenzó David.
Before everything, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to be here today and for giving me the joy of being able to travel this path that had allowed me to be here today and hopefully inspire everyone to believe in yourself. Thank you, dear God, for giving me the opportunity and the strength all this year to stay strong and keep my feet on the ground through ups and downs and all the sacrifices that I had to overcome to be able to be here with you today. Just like you guys know, I'm real. And I'm going to talk to you guys in English and Spanish. Pa' que mi gente me entiendan. Todo eso viene del corazón. This is such an incredible day an incredible honor, and I'm so humbled to be on this stage right now. The last 6 months.
Señores, lo voy a dejar ahí, porque es David Ortiz, lo voy a dejar ahí. Esperemos que no nos jodan con esto.
I've been thinking about how I got here to this stage, Cooperstown, today. I've been thinking about my life, my career, and most of all, the people that believe in me. I've also been thinking about the lesson I've been taking from their support and the power that we all have to make and a positive difference in this world. I want to thank the baseball writer for making me the first designated hitter in the history of Cooperstown to be selected in the first ballot. You guys got it going on. Thanks, guys. To Major League Baseball,
Vieron ahí a Pedro y a David juntos.
you have given me throughout my professional career. I really appreciate it, MLB. Love you. This game is so important here in America and around the world. Thank you for all the support you have given baseball as a sport. So that is continue to be part of our culture and part of the heart of all the fans worldwide. Cooperstown. I would also like to thank the village of Cooperstown for opening your door to us.
David está leyendo eso ahí, como que fue una vaina que se aprendió.
Shada,
Está asustado el hombre.
Chester, sorry, and Whitney, thank you very much for being able to have us here and treat my family and everyone else the right way. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank all the members, the Hall of Fame present today. My respect always to all of you. Thank you for being here. It's an amazing honor to be part of this elite group that you already are. My family, mis primos y hermanos, Albani Ortiz, Yacili, Eloy, Bambán, Robert, Manolo, ¿quién más me falta? Todos los tigres que son míos que andan por ahí. Ustedes saben que sin ustedes esto nunca hubiese pasado. Mi compadre Luis, ¿qué fue? No te voy a dejar fuera del paquete. Sabes que lo quiero mucho. Mis hijos de Angelo, Alex, Jesse, David. You guys know that without you guys, this would never happen. You guys were the engine that started this motor every day for me to get it going and keep on going. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being there for me always. Just like your mother, Tiffany Ortiz, wherever she at us right now. Thank you very much, Tiffany, for supporting me during my career. You are amazing. Thank you very much. Mi gente en la República Dominicana.
¿Qué lo que? ¿Qué lo que? Los dominicanos.
La República Dominicana, mi tierra, wow. La tierra que me vio nacer.
Es mentira, están diciendo por ahí. Es mentira.
Gracias por su gente, que me ha acogido siempre como uno de sus hijos favoritos y me ha brindado su apoyo paso tras paso a través de mi carrera. Gracias por su música, que me ha llenado de vida, alegría, sabor todos los días. A los Tigres del Cibao que estaban conmigo ahí desde cero. Gracias por aguantar mi tanda que yo le daba diaria a cada rato, por su comida, su buena vibra, por su alegría y por su espíritu de guerra, que ha sido el mismo mío. Gracias siempre por ser Quiqueya la Bella. Nada comparado a eso. Presidente Luis Abinader, gracias por mandar la comitiva que está aquí apoyándonos hoy. Yo sé que usted es una persona muy ocupada y de mucho trabajo y que está tratando de mejorar lo que se llama nuestro país. Sé que no está aquí presente, pero gracias por mandar el grupo y su espíritu, sé que está con nosotros aquí también. I want to thank the United States of America from the bottom of my heart as an American citizen who welcomed me with open arms since I was practically a child and gave me the opportunity to develop and fulfill all my dreams and then some more. Thank you very much, U.S. And to all of my
Los hijos de David ahí.
consider this an open invitation to visit my island
Ah, pero esa placa no se parece, David.
Special play, but we have a lot of good and happy people, beautiful beaches where you guys can go when you guys are freezing here. So show up in the Dominican.
Oye, David Ortiz le dijo a esa gente que están aquí en Estados Unidos, que se están frizando cuando el frío llega aquí, que vayan y den una vuelta por República Dominicana para que vean el calientico. Oye.
I could not have done it without you. Was a guy named Ramon de los Santos, Pintacora La Uva, and Fernando Arguelle was calling me and signed me to the Mariners, to the Seattle Mariners when I was only 16 years old. They saw something in me and they fought for it. Once I was in the United States, another gentleman named Jim Scotland, the Mariner minor league coordinator, make a huge impact on me. Also, Jim Beatty, who is also here somewhere, that's another guy who make a major impact on me as a player development director. And then there was a guy named Mike Goff, who was my manager, who taught me and our entire team so much. He always used to tell us, you have to go hard, can't take things for granted. He was hard on me, but I know it was coming from a good place. On the last day of the season, he told me, the reason why I was so hard on you is because out of all the players here, I think you are the one that can have an amazing career in the big league. Go and get it, big boy. Thank you, Mike.
Gracias, Isaac, por suscribirte al canal, brother. Bienvenido a la familia. Dios te bendiga, hermano.
John Russell, my manager in the first state league, and Al Newman, who was my manager in AA the same year that John Russell was my manager in the first state league. These two guys built up my confidence so much that I end up in the big league that year. I learned so many big things from them. These two guys were father figures and made me believe that they work with me every day. Because they believe in me, I wanted to show them that I could do it too. I also have to thank the Minnesota Twins for bringing me into the big league. Even that didn't work out the way everybody expected. I learned from my time there that once I get my shot in any other place, I was going to work hard to never let it go into the last day I play. To all of these year new Hall of Famer, I want to congratulate you. It's an honor to be in this stage with Mr. Tony Oliva, Mr. Jim Cott. Those guys always were around when I was with the Twins, giving us good advice. Congratulations to the two of you. And there is another Twins Hall of Famer that I got to know really well, and I'm missing so much, Mr. Kirby Puckett. He taught me so much about the game, and I mean, he gave me so many advice, and he was so wonderful to me that when I went to Boston, I started wearing his number 34. God bless you, Kirby, whatever God have you. Thank the Red Sox.
El mejor equipo que hay, que lo que. Gracias, Boston.
From Mr. John Henry to Linda Henry to Tom Werner to Larry Lucchino, Phil Morse, who was there when I came to Boston, and of course my man Sam Kennedy. I can thank you guys enough for building me up and supporting me throughout the years. I also want to thank my man Jack McCormick, who was the traveling secretary at the time while I played, and my little sis, Pan Cam. That organization made me the man that I am today. They educate me about the game, but they also educate me about my life. Community service, connecting with people, the Jimmy Fund, the Children Fund. That's why I started the David Ortiz Children Fund that have provided life-saving heart surgery for children in the Dominican Republic and New England.
La gente sí está aplaudiendo ahora, señores, ¿eh? La verdadera para David Ortiz.
I want to thank everyone that worked so hard in my foundation to make this happen. All the stuff that as a player you get connected with, now that I'm not a player, I know what that means. The impact that we have, I know what that feels like now, to have someone supporting you at the hospital. There are a few people who make it possible for me to become a Red Sox. I gotta thank my man Dave Giles, who watched me playing winter ball while he was the manager for the Licey in the Dominican Republic. And the minute the Red Sox call him, he shows up, showing me some love right away. Thanks, Dave. I also wanna thank this guy right here, who you also know. Number 45.
Pedro el Grande.
Padre Pedro. Tengo que darle las gracias porque él ha sido para mí un hermano, un consejero, un abogado, hasta plomero ha sido mi compadre para mí. Mi compadre, lo amo con locura y yo me puedo pasar el día entero hablando de usted. I can talk about Pedro all day long. I'm gonna let go now. And my agent Fernando, who has been with me since I was 17. Fernando, man, I can tell you no more, man. I can ask you for no more.
Red Dawn, República Dominicana, mi gente, estamos activos.
At the time, you guys have been incredible. I love you guys. When I first came to Boston, I have a manager named Grady Little, who was the manager at the time. And my very first at bat against the Twins during spring training, I tried to move a runner over. And I thought when I got back to the dugout, everybody was going to high-five me. Everybody stay sit. And the manager put me to the side and told me, hey, big boy, I don't want you to bring them.
Señores, tenemos 2 horas aquí, gracias a Dios.
I want you to be here to bring them in. The rest is history. And then I was lucky enough to play for 2 guys named Terry Francona, who have at the time a guy named John Farrell as a pitching coach, who took over as a manager. These guys, they did nothing but build my confidence, even through tough times. I love you guys, and I know I always gonna have you guys in my heart. Tito, whatever you are, man, you know Papi got you. John as well. To all my former teammates here today showing love, gotta start with the Twins, man. Hall of Famer Paul Molitor, who taught me well when I was with the Twins. Troy Hawkins, Eddie Wardado, Cody Koski, Jack Jones, Torrey Horner, Matt Lawton, Brad Rocky, all those guys, man, got my back when I played for the Twins. I love you guys, man, from the bottom of my heart. And I also got teammates right here, Los Chicos Locos, Johnny Damon, Mikey Lowe, Dustin Pedroia, Track Neeson, Jason
Boston,
Tim Wayfield, Kevin Euclid, and of course, number 45. I want you guys to know that even with the God-given talent that I have, I don't think I would have made it without the support and love coming from all of you. All I was trying to do.
Hey, tú no has mencionado a Manny, cuidado. Si no mencionas a Manny, oye. Yo voy a ver si tú no mencionas a Manny. Ahí la macate, David.
Pee-wee grabbed me by the neck one time, and he told me, if you keep on pulling the ball, I'm gonna whoop you. And guess what? Big Papi got caught up on fire. My teammates always were there for me, and that's something that I always gonna appreciate. And in life, remember, our teammates are our second family. Love you guys, man, forever.
No has mencionado a Manny, cuidado si te vas sin mencionar a Manny, que ahí sí es verdad.
Wait. I can forget about Jason Varitek.
Oh, shit, yo pensaba que era Manny.
Serious. I love you, Cap. It's been almost 20 years since my first day.
Él dijo, déjame, cuidado, se me olvida alguien. Yo pensaba que era Manny que iba a decir.
When I think about Boston, I definitely think about 2004, 2007, and of course, 2013. After the city was shaken by a marathon bombing I have never seen a community bounce back and reunite like Boston. When I think about Boston, I also think about the last game I played. Standing on that field at Fenway Park, it feels like the whole city of New England and each one and every one of you was surrounding me and was showing me all your love. I will always be Boston, and I will always be there for you, Boston. I love you, Boston. Mi mamá y mi papá fueron dos gente que a nosotros nos criaron con mucho esfuerzo. Mi mamá era una mujer joseadora, trabajadora, una mujer incansable que siempre quería darle a los hijos suyos lo mejor. Igual que papi. Papi siempre, sin poder, se fajaba con nosotros, conmigo y mis hermanas, a meter mano como sea. Tipo, a lo primero, el primer juguete que me regaló, me acuerdo que fue un bate y una pelota. Un guante y un bate. Y el guante era para uno que juegue sobre todo. Ya tú sabes la vuelta. No había guante zurdo por esos tiempos. Se sacrificó mucho para darnos lo mejor. Y lo más importante, siempre trató de enfocarnos en lo que se llama la educación. Papi y mami salían y hacían lo imposible para que yo y mi hermana tuviéramos una vida mejor que ellos. Y eso se lo agradeceré siempre en el alma. Cada vez que daba un honrón, miraba hacia el cielo, solamente dedicándole todo a mi mamá, porque mami lo era todo para mí. Te amo, papi, tú lo sabes. Te amo, mami, donde quiera que Dios te tenga. I always try to live my life in a way that support others, that make a positive influence in the world. And if my story can remind you of anything,
mira, esa bandera de Belinda ahí en el traje ese.
You can change their world. You can change their future. Just like so many people who believe in me. To everyone that believe in me, from my family to coaches to teammates to fans, no, I could not have done this without you. My Hall of Fame plaque represents each one of you. And I'm gonna thank you guys for the rest of my life. Thank you very much and God bless you all. Quiero a mi gente, lo amo. Que viva la República Dominicana.
Que viva, que viva.
Y lo veo en el party ahorita, en la cervecería. Lo quiero mucho.
A very grateful David Ortiz as this massive crowd celebrates Big Papi as he is inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Mentioning so many people, and I just loved, Harold, the way he weaved in and out of English and Spanish.
Yeah, I think it's so important, especially in the time that we're in. But, you know, to my Latin brothers, you should never be ashamed of using your native tongue.
Señores, yo creo que hasta aquí dejamos el en vivo. Ya vimos todo lo que teníamos que ver, ya acabó todo, dejaron a David de último. Así que ya ustedes saben, mi gente, gracias por la sintonía, gracias por estar aquí, a los que estuvieron aquí, ¿verdad? Ya ustedes saben, no olviden suscribirse al canal, llevar la campanita de notificaciones, darle un buen like y sobre todo compartir, señores. Así que ya ustedes saben, nos vemos hasta la próxima.
And I'll go back to